This is a message from your guides, reading for the child. Okay, so I have 3 crystals here. This is how I always begin. If you haven't noticed, after your like 999th reading, or whatever number we're at now. So, what am I saying? 3 crystals. So I have 1 group crystal here, and then I have 2 crystals that I pulled specifically for your reading. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and surround us in some positive space with my big, fat crystal quartz here. Okay, so I'll go ahead and show you these. So I have my big crystal quartz here that I already showed you. And then I have my smaller crystal quartz here, which is also a pyramid. And then, so those are the 2 that I pulled for your reading. And then I have my group stone here, which is my green fluorite. So this is a heart chakra stone. And so the crystal quartz, I think I've pulled crystal quartz for you before, most likely. Probably pulled like nearly all of the crystals that I have, just because the amount of readings that we've done. But, so this is an all-purpose crystal, tends to be. But specifically with my readings, it usually has a lot to do with clearing. Clearing your aura, clearing cords, because it has that, you know, crystal clear color, crystal clear energy. And it also has to do with connecting to higher energies. And then especially when I have this pyramid here, it really has to do with like a higher energy, and it's kind of like you're downloading it, or it's coming through you and it's grounding. So with the pyramid here, I tend to think of this as like downloading, and that's kind of funny because you were specifically asking about that in your email, and I'm remembering that because I keep saying downloading. So it can be downloading information, but always from some higher energy, either a higher aspect of you, or your guides, or some other, you know, higher positive kind of energy, and you're grounding it down. So it's transmitting through you, you're grounding it down. Oh, and then my green fluorite, I didn't get into that one. So this has to do with healing, a lot of healing. It's a very, very calming, soothing stone. So it heals the heart chakra. It also brings us into focus. It brings us into center or stillness, and it grounds us. And it grounds us to nature. It has a lot of nature and grounding energies as well. It also helps for protection with empathy. So also say hello to the heart chakra for me, because every week I keep thinking I have 6 readings to do, but I only have 5. But I keep thinking that I have 6, and then I'm like, oh wait, oh right, I'm not doing hers this week. And then this week when I went in to do the readings, I was like, all of a sudden I'm feeling her energy. Like I know she's feeling it. I know she's like, I want a reading this week. So I'll be happy when she rejoins the group. Okay, so let's see what else your guides have to say here. Okay, so one thing that I ran into here when I was first surrounding you in the protective space was your right hand. This didn't feel like a block though, exactly. It was just an energy that they were kind of making me aware of. Okay, so your hands have to do with what you're putting out. So this can have to do with money. It can have to do with career. It can even have to do with just something that you're doing creatively. But it has to do with something that you are doing, obviously. We do things with our hands. On the right hand, now specifically, your left hand is your receiving hand. Your right hand is your giving hand. And this does feel kind of like career, money related. It also feels spiritually related, because those things with you definitely feel spiritually related. It didn't really feel like a block exactly. It did feel like something is in the works, something is going to be manifesting, but there's just this feeling of don't rush anything. There's a feeling like that with it. Like we can tend to try and just rush the process just a little bit. Sometimes we get a little bit ahead of ourselves. I wouldn't say you're getting way ahead of yourself. This doesn't feel like it's way out there. It does feel like it's something that is forming. So it's becoming more concrete, but it feels like you have to wait just a little bit longer. Even with this question that you had with the heart chakra, it just feels like something is in the works, and it feels like when the time is right, you're both going to feel it, and it will just naturally occur. And even with the downloads, it feels like right now as well you're downloading information. So obviously that's good to like write down or record in some way where you're storing it in some way, any kind of snippets like that come to you, and kind of keep them for later. I feel like there's something that you're going to be doing with them, but it just doesn't feel like right now or quite yet. Some of this also has to do with the heart chakra though. So this doesn't only have to do with like your blocks or what you're removing, and not even just what you're removing, but just whatever is happening with you. Doesn't have to be only removing something, or even only positive or negative or whatever. But just in general, since it's two people, it has to do also with her blocks, things she's coming to understand and realize about herself on her journey. And then all these pieces are going to kind of come together when the time is right. So it does feel like there's a specific time for this. Mainly it just has to do with what the two of you are learning. But it feels like it's good to be together there on the journey. It's good that you can talk to one another about things. It's good that you can relay ideas, and just that you're friends. Okay. I should have put these questions up here. Okay, but I got into them quickly anyway. Okay, the answer to number 2 is no. Your guides are not going to differentiate themselves quite yet. I feel like there is a specific timing for that too, but I'm going to hold this question here because I'm sure, at some point, obviously, they will. So that's there whenever they're ready to do that. Like, I'm going to be waiting for it too. Whenever they decide to come through, I'm going to be like, oh, that's who I've been talking to for like a while now. Okay, so they're coming in with a lot more energy all of a sudden. They're reminding me, which I'm going to say really quickly before they get into whatever it is that they're about to get into, but they're reminding me, for the whole group, I have this music playing today. It's like different animal totems, but it's like one song is one animal totem and it goes into all the different ones. So just as I was coming into your reading, the wolf totem animal song started playing, but there was a feeling kind of with that, like that is a totem animal for you currently. I just have a bear totem coming in. I'm just going to put that out there. I don't feel like I really need to look that up or anything. If you feel to, then that's something that you can do. So I kind of feel like they want to get into something else. But they're kind of taking their time with bringing their energies in more. Okay, there's something I'm going to have to look up here for a second. Okay, so what they wanted me to look up was a specific constellation, which took me a minute to find. I wasn't sure of the name of it, so they had to kind of send that through for a minute. But there's it's actually 3 constellations. It used to be only called 1. It's called Argo. And then there are 3 constellations. There's one in particular. I don't know how to say this word. Puppis, something like that. That's the way that it's spelt anyway. There's something about a lifetime in this constellation that you've had. It actually feels like it's similar to the Pleiadian lifetime. Like a similar type of theme where you were teaching and you were like a type of philosopher. There's the same kind of feeling with this. It feels like you're some kind of oracle, but I don't mean like a psychic oracle. I mean like an orator. So you're someone who is speaking. You're speaking like you're speaking in front of other people. There's a feeling with this almost like a kind of diplomatic kind of energy. It feels like a diplomatic type of leader, definitely a male person. There's also like an older feeling, like age-wise, but then at the same time there's this feeling of it taking a very long time to age there. Like they do have kind of an aging process, but it happens much, much, much more slowly, and part of it feels like it's also because they're more mentally advanced. It doesn't really feel like they age where they become like deformed like we do, or where they can't really walk or move or speak or hear correctly in the same way that they did before. So it doesn't feel like they deteriorate. It does feel like they kind of age to a certain point. It takes them a long time to do that, but then it feels like they stop. But it does feel like they leave incarnations, but in a different way than we do. But it does also feel like they do have a type of physical form. But it doesn't look anything like ours. They would definitely not pass for humans at all. They're saying that it's important for you to know about this lifetime because some of the traits and different abilities and skills that you had over there and in the Pleiadian lifetime, that was the reason that they brought that one up as well, are things that you are going to be kind of taking with you, and you're going to be showing those things in this lifetime as well. So one thing is you have to kind of think of yourself differently. And they're saying that it's a lot easier to download information when you understand and realize that you already have it there. It's almost like you're kind of downloading it from yourself. Even if your guides are sending it to you, they're more like reminders than actual realizations. Even if they feel like a realization now, you've known it before. And so it's more like a reminder, like your soul is reminding you of something, or your guides are reminding you of something that your soul already knows from a previous lifetime. And you're just taking it in here, maybe in this new way or from this new perspective that you have currently. So it can give you kind of a different glance on it or different angle on it, which you need here. Then you can help earth people with that same kind of idea and concept. So you can kind of make it yours in this current lifetime. But at the same time, it's not really new information, because it's traveled to you actually from yourself. Again, even if your guides are sending it, it's a reminder of something that you already knew before. So that's what the downloads are. They're not new pieces of information. They're pieces of information that you knew before. So even if your guides are the ones sending it, which mostly they are, you can still think of it in this way of your higher self, in a sense, kind of through your guides, is the one sending it to you. Even the fairy lifetime that they had mentioned before, you're going to be using things from that lifetime. So all of the lifetimes that they've shown you are very significant. Either they were something more negative, so either they were something more negative in a sense, where it's something that you need to look at so that you can remove it, or they're more positive in a sense, in the way of, I can bring this through here now. So either it's something that you are taking with you and in a sense adding, or it's something that you are taking away by looking at and integrating it fully and understanding it. So it's still something positive that you're taking with you by choosing to remove something. You're learning the lesson of it. So you're still taking valuable lessons with you by choosing to integrate it. Okay, so now they're kind of saying, so where were you a healer? So there's some lifetime in there where you were doing some type of healing as well. This again feels like an extraterrestrial lifetime. It doesn't really feel like here. Even the fairy lifetime, obviously, now that was more here, but in another dimension, if I'm recalling that right. Obviously, there are, other planets. You can obviously be in a nature realm on another planet as well. If I recall correctly, though, it was here on Earth, but still, it was in another dimension. So they're saying that all of these lifetimes that they've shared with you, you need to be aware of them, because with all of them, either there are things that you are taking with you, or there's things that you are leaving behind, but again, still taking the lessons with you. And when you integrate it fully, then you do leave that behind, and then you apply the lessons. And integrating it means applying the lessons, and that's what they mean by integrating it. So integrating it just simply means I applied the karmic lesson. So you can think of yourself as worthy and understand that you already have all of this knowledge, and the knowledge that you're downloading in this way, even some of the things that you haven't downloaded, but that you're looking at maybe for the first time, you're reading about different topics or whatever, or even before when you were reading about some of these spiritual understandings for the first time. Some of that stuff was not really for the first time. A lot of it wasn't, even though some of it, again, is from this angle. It's from a different angle. It's from like an earthly angle or perspective while we're here on Earth, but it's the same type of concepts. And that's one of the things about being on different planets and various places. There's different cultures, and there was a different path of evolution in various ways, whether it's physically, but obviously in other ways as well, mentally and through the culture, emotionally. In all of these ways, they've evolved differently. They had a different evolutionary path than we did. And so you can learn all of these different perspectives kind of the same types of things, kind of the same kind of material, but now you're looking at it from Earth's perspective, or various planets, but then not only Earth's perspective, but now my perspective on this planet. So now you have the child's perspective on planet Earth versus the child's perspective on the Pleiades or on some other planetary system. I do feel like they're going to get into the healer lifetime, but obviously not for this reading. But I do feel like they're actually going to get into that a little bit more of the specifics. Not necessarily a lot of detail, but I feel like they will get into it a little bit more. Okay. So I think that is all that they have to say for this reading then. I'm going to go ahead and do one more pass here because I just kind of feel to. So of course I'm using the downloading crystal. Wasn't really thinking of that when I grabbed this one. Okay, so just doing a little bit more clearing here. Okay, so that is the end of this reading. Thank you very much for another one, The Child. And as always, I hope that it has benefited you, and I will see you next week. Namaste.